Hi again everyone, my name is Javanda Gomez and I'm here with another subnetting skills challenge video. Now here we have a network that we will be subnetting. We were given the network addresses for subnetting the network. So we are to use, for example, this network address, which is divided into 4 networks with 60 hosts each. Then this network over here, we are to divide it into 2 networks with 30 hosts each. So these boxes here, they represent switches, and each switch is connected to their respective routers. So here you can see that I would have already done up the subnetting for this video, so we're going to go through it. So let's start with our router 1. So this network's IP address is 192.168.2.0/24, and we are to get 60 hosts per network, and we have 4 networks. So in order to get 60 hosts, we'll have to figure out which number here we will be using. So we will use the 64. So because we use the 64, then our magic number is 64. So subnet mask will be 128 plus 64 is 192, and it would be a /26 since we would have borrowed 2 bits. Okay, so let's go down here, and in total we would have a total of 64 total hosts, but because we have to make way for our network and broadcast addresses, our usable host is 62. Now here are these are the 4 network addresses for our 4 switches. Each of them can have 60 hosts. Well, it could actually have 62 hosts, so we made way for the 60 hosts. Now here you can see this is the first address, and this is 192.168.2.0, which is our network address, and our broadcast address on this network is 192.168.2.63. So this is our network address, this is our broadcast address, and all the addresses in between these 2 addresses are our usable hosts. And the same for the rest of the 4 networks. So we would have already subnetted router 1. So let us now move on to R2, our router 2, and work out the subnetting for this network. So our 2 network is 172.20.0.0/16. Now we are to get a total of 1,000 hosts per network. Right, so we're getting 4 networks and 1,000 hosts each. Now this is a little bit different from what we have been doing previously, where we use the magic number. The magic number would not work for this network. So what we will be doing is, instead of borrowing the bits, we are taking away bits in order to get bigger numbers of hosts. So for example, this /23 here, we took away one of the ones. We got a total of 512 hosts. So when we keep taking away ones, we are doubling the amount of hosts that we could get. So here you can also see the subnets for each of these here. So I did up these 5 because we would need it again in the other networks, because you could see here we have a network here with 5,000 hosts. So as you can see, we would have done up a /19 that will give us 8,000 hosts that we will be using for that network with the 5,000 hosts needed. So again, instead of borrowing bits, when we borrowed bits, we said, okay, this would have been a 128. The magic number would have been 128. Now we are taking away in order to have a bigger amount of hosts. So let's move on to this network on our router 2. So here you can see our switch 1 network address is 172.20.0.0. That's our network address, and our broadcast address will be 172.20.0.3, and between these two will be our usable host. So I would have already done up the subnetting for each of them. Okay, so we're basically going to be doing the same thing for our next network, which is the one with the 5,000 hosts. And because we would have already calculated how we will come about with this 5,000 hosts, we using this network here. It's just a /19 in order to get the 5,000 hosts. So basically number here we would use, which would be, this one would be 128, 64, and 32. So our networks will be incrementing by 32. So let's go down here to this network, and you can see I would have already worked it out. Let me put this here in red. Right, so our networks are here and they are incremented by 32. So here our first network is 172.24.0.0, and it will go on to 122.24.0.31, and this would be our network address, and this would be our broadcast address, and the networks between there would be our usable hosts. And we would have done that for each and every one of these. Now this is a /19, so this would be our subnet mask for this network. Let's move along to the other network. So this network here is an easy one. Let's go back up here. This is the network that we will be subnetting now. There's only 30 hosts and only 2 networks. So let's go back down here. Right, so this is the network address, and because we need a total of 30 hosts for each network, we're going to use a magic number of 32, and using a magic number of 32 means that we have a /27. So this will be our subnet mask, and this will be our first IP address, our network address for the first host will be 192.168.2.0, and the broadcast address will be 192.168.2.31, and all the hosts in between would be our usable hosts. Okay, so I went ahead and I fixed up the document to include the classes and just fix up some little errors that I would have made. So this is the first network, router 1. This is the second network, router 2. This is the third network, router 3. And the fourth network,